What?
Yeah,
Oh,
so he will doodle
okay. He wants me to read this. Welcome to the All-American Otaku Show. Is that right? Okay, don't kill me. Thank you. Bye.
That's so good.
Join the ride, jumping in where the stories collide. From the screen to the song, this is where we belong. All American Otaku, let's come alive. Let's go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the All American Otaku Show news. The first bit of business we're going to talk about is next week is we're going to do an episode on the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. I've watched the whole thing already and I written down analysis of it. I know it's later than a lot of people are doing it, but decided to do it as sooner than later, and we'll get my whole view and analysis as well as what I think it will be in the future, what I think of the winners, what I think of the losers, all that in next week's episode. Also, this week I am going to we did a poll on overpowered characters and anime. This poll is we had one winner, one that came close second, and two that didn't even come close at all. We'll find out who won, who lost, and which one is the overall overpowered character. We'll discuss this in the All American Otaku Show. Thank you. Welcome to the All American Otaku Show. Today's subject is about overpowered characters in anime and manga. Overpowered is a suggestive idea that just because something is strong doesn't necessarily mean it's overpowered. Case in point, Yamcha from Dragon Ball Z. He's very strong, very powerful. He can fly. He has the Wolfgang Fist, but in the Dragon Ball Z universe, he's not overpowered. Some would even say he's underpowered in the grand scheme of things, though he's one of the more stronger humans in the anime. Overpowered could be something, someone who starts off as just a normal guy and then builds up and becomes so overpowering that nothing stands in his way and nothing comes close to his greatness or his power level. Others are they're straight up powerful right back, and there's no challenge, no villains, no nothing. They're just dominant and super powered. There is also the overpowered, as in the grand scheme of things, such as in one anime, a person decides to doesn't like how an NPC's personality, so they override the person's personality and make her more acceptable to him. But first of the overpowered characters I'm going to talk to you about is none other than Goku. Goku is extremely overpowered in the grand scheme of things, where there's always question in an anime character is, can they beat Goku? Goku in Dragon Ball Z, he starts off as in Ball. He starts off as a kid, a Saiyan kid with a tail, which the original story was kind of a parody off of Journey to the West of the Monkey King. He ends up becoming every time he sees the moon, he becomes this huge giant gorilla and then sort of rampaging and destroying things. In Dragon Ball, it was more of a comedic aspect of Goku, where he looks at Bulma and it's like, "You lost your balls," and she's like, "Oh, the Dragon Balls are missing? No, you lost your balls," thinking that Bulma had balls. Very funny, very humorous. There was characters like Monster Rabbit, who turns people into carrot and he hits them upside the head with his extendable staff, which was from Journey to the West, and sends him off to the moon to make chocolate rabbits. Goku ends up in the martial arts tournament, not always winning, and he ends up facing, other than Master Roshi, as a character called Jackie Chun to prove that there's always someone bigger and better. Goku takes this into strides and always training and training and training, thinking there's always someone stronger and someone better. Where Goku is considered overpowered is he ends up defeating universal enemies such as Frieza, who destroys planets with a single shot, or he defeats Cell, who could destroy solar systems without any effort, or Boo, that destroys and turns people in candy and destroys everything. But he had to build up to this overpoweredness, build up through training, through one conflict after the next. The problem, though, is every time he got more powerful and defeated this one great villain, they have to go through another great villain that's even more powerful and more astronomically astronomically dangerous. And he has to train and fight and become over there and get another power up or so forth. The original idea for Akira Toriyama, he didn't really want to use Goku as much far as he did. He wanted to, when Goku lost and died, got killed to Raditz after sacrificing himself to defeat Raditz, it was supposed to be the story of Gohan from then and on. But there was such a fan backlash that they said you can't get rid of Gohan. We liked him in Dragon Ball. Can't get him so close to Dragon Ball Z and get rid of Gohan. So he decides to have a story where the Dragon Balls and they bring back Goku, and eventually Goku ends up being more powerful to defeat Raditz, defeats Frieza, defeats Vegeta, and defeats Cell and Boo and what have you. It got to a question with his Kamehameha destroying things, or Spirit Bomb, or accomplishing these major obstacles, is can something beat Goku? Is Goku who ends up being considered the benchmark of Dragon Ball Z or even anime of sheer power. But Goku still has his flaws, even though he is considered overpowered by many. He's afraid of needles, and he's usually dominated and so forth by his wife Chi Chi. He also has to take care of his family, such as Gohan, and doesn't have the idea to train as much, even though he goes and scurries off to train. Chi Chi's always there. You have to get a driver's license, you have to get a job, and so forth to pay for his kids to a college. Gohan's ended up becoming a professor and so forth, and becoming a major academic over the years, with Chi Chi pursuing him to be more of a academic rather than actually a overpowered martial artist and fighter as Goku. So the benchmark of overpowered is Goku. The next overpowered character I want to talk to you about is Madara. He's a superpowered villain who and took many thoughts and many ideas that even the creator of Naruto didn't figure out how to way to defeat Madara. So they created a new villain she's the goddess of chi itself, or chakra itself. Ends up defeating Madara, and Madara ends up with his ninja style powers such as Sharingan and so forth, and as well as Kobuto was with him, and bringing back dead sages and dead people, which made this arc of Naruto Shippuden his idea he almost won. See, an overpowered villain, in my opinion, is not necessarily a bad thing, because it gives an idea of what the heroes could accomplish and give a more satisfying end when they defeat this villain. The next thing I'm going to talk about is one of the ones we had over the poll of overpowered characters in anime. And this one I chose there, even though it was tied for last place, is none other than Overlord. Or his name happens to be Ans Dole Gown. He's so overpowered in a world of video games. He looks like a giant skeleton with rings and cloaks and stuff, has top of the best equipment of this world. He didn't like a female's personality that said she's a very bitchy personality. So she changes her personality to the fact, using programs and his ability, to make her more subservient and more like him, in a more direct way. Got tired of it because it ends up being easy. He ends up going and dominating and going into the world. This anime had 5 seasons. I personally couldn't really watch it all the way through. I don't really like characters that are so overpowered that they could just change things in a flick of a wrist without it being parody or something. The idea of the game world, the isekai elements, The idea that when he first was in the game of the top guild and most of the guild members left, and eventually he ended up leaving, getting stuck into this game impermanently, and it ends up being more of an isekai elements of this thing. This anime had 5 seasons. And it's still going strong. He's also part of the isekai quartet thing that they did, an isekai thing of all these different isekai characters. It's a fairly good anime to a lot of people. It's a fairly good to various aspects of it. This leads on to the next overpowered anime that was on the list that tied was not other than Mob Psycho 100, created by the same creators of One Punch Man. Mob has extremely psychic powers. They exercise ghosts and other creatures and sending them back to where they come from. Where Mob comes in, his weakness is he thinks his mentor, who's a con man, is this overpowered and overpowerful psychic. Watch at one time he ends up with Mob Psycho and then comes in there. His power levels, the joke is his power levels at like 5%, 10%, then 100% and goes all berserk and defeats the ghosts and so forth. Mob Psycho was a very entertaining, very comedic, and very great characters, great character development, great storyline, and great animation and aspects of it. This anime is really great in the humor and really great in the action, really great in the storytelling. This also leads into the next anime in my top overpowered characters is that took second place is Psyche. He has the ability of psychic abilities in an anime where there was not really very much powers or psychic abilities. He has a fan who kind of has a butt chin, and he ends up with and the girl who's a popular and he ignores that she thinks, oh, I really want to get with him, and Alex explained why in anime everyone has the different colored hair because he was born with pink hair. He didn't want to stand out, so he says, okay, I'm going to make it in so everywhere in this world will have different color hair, blue, pink, or what have you. Make it, and everyone will think it's of the norm. He uses his powers to help his parents, even though he doesn't want to sometimes. They try to make it easier. He's got the idea of, he feels kind of sad or melancholy of just of how his powers are. He has these antenna on there that limit his powers and various other adventures and episodic things that go on through this anime. This leads into the one who won the most overpowered character in anime, Saitama. Saitama, as compared to with Goku, who would win in a fight, Saitama will, or One Punch Man, will defeat any enemy as in one punch. I want to go to a lot of con goers as if this was an actual story, not a parody, it would be considered a bad storytelling, which they all agreed it was, considering there was no major villain that he has to overcome and struggle and something that overpowered that he has to go there. Instead, it's like, okay, I face this villain one punch. The parody is if everything is so easy and everything is so easily defeatable, you'll feel melancholy and depressed and feel sad and things about yourself. But you have some areas where Saitama's not so strong in, as in video games playing with King, who was ended up getting credit for there, as well as overpowered he is, he's not recognized as the most powerful character, even though very much he is. He defeats every creature, every monster, and everything in one punch, except Boros, where he took several serious punches, and Bro says, even you, you're super strong, you could defeat me very easily. He goes into later downs where he takes out Jupiter by sneezing and super overpowered, no worldly strength or anything to overcome to say, I have to get stronger to defeat this thing. It's everything. Oh, I defeated it in one punch. Oh, I defeated it in one punch. This leads into what Saitama, the idea is if everything's easy, then what's the point? This also concludes my overpowered list. And here's Mr. Pat on his manga Overpowered characters. Thank you.
This is All American Otaku Show, and this is Mr. Pat. Today we are covering one of my subjects I chose this time around, Overpowered. Now, there are versions of Overpowered, and I'll go over what they mean and what they mean to the manga I read that portrays them. So, some don't all start out that way. Some are, as far as the story progresses, they don't have Overpowered much in that story. Until it, as it starts, they are overpowered, and or some their journey from zero to hero. It's quite a bit. Like one of them that have to work really have to work at it because Battle Angel. This is one of my favorite, and she basically starts out with amnesia. We'll leave that out of extra story. She's like mostly cyborg. The only part that's really correlating with her is her brain. Everything else is cyborg. Like her brain is encased in this special gel that stopped from her drop from decent high orbit in that junk pile. Anyways, so she started like that, zero to hero. But the cool thing about her is, even though she had amnesia and everything, she was rescued by this doctor and put back together with parts. And in this actual story, she's actually a really good martial artist. And somehow the memory of that former training really works out. I've talked about this a few times in my other videos, but in the grand scheme of things, she's has this thing called Panzerkunst, and it's basically cyborg combat that emphasizes a bunch of martial arts that even work in zero G gravity, which they find a lot of them in that time period. Anyways, the whole idea though is that as she slowly gains or builds memories upon her journey, she doesn't quite remember it, but she starts developing relations with people, and she gets much more refined with her abilities. I give this one 5 out of 5. I really like the story. There's 2 other kind of books. There's tons of volumes in each one. The second story is more that she's a lot more refined and has gets nanites injected in her so she can actually synthesize stuff out of her. It's really good. Next, some start overpowered, and none that start overpowered. Guts from Berserk. Now he's what you call really he in the backstory he's didn't start out that way, but in the story progresses, he starts slicing things like 10 times bigger than him, demons, and at one point or another, past the golden arc, he's really he loses his hand, but in the process he has a prosthetic limb. So yeah, there's a canon involved in the prosthetic limb, and he is the type of person that operates on combat through what do you call it? Right as battle goes, he adjusts on the fly. He's a real good person where he can see things as they come and adjust accordingly. He's often put up against really, really way over top characters. In the middle of that part of the other arc that correlates the name Berserk is he gets this Berserk armor that, as you know, Berserk means that they don't have any friend or foe recognition, so he puts this suit of armor on and it cuts off all his sense of pain, and it dulls his senses enough that when he's attacking with his, oh, by the way, his big ass sword we call Dragon Slayer, and the cool thing about the Dragon Slayer is it's been dipped in so much of demons he's killed that it's gaining a power in itself that cuts off spiritual power of the creatures, where you can actually cut them down with a sword, and it works really great. But anyways, the Berserk armor is a double-edged sword. It works great quite a bit of times, but when he accidentally gets into a line of fire with his other compatriots, he doesn't really know who they are unless he has help with someone helping him out with his mind at that point. But I give this one, I really like this one. I give it 5 out of 5. And now we're on to one of my other third picks. And some of the overpowered characters make a joke out of it. None of them make a joke out of it than One Punch Man. Saitama himself, again, backstory, but as a beginning of the story, he's so overpowered, it's not even funny. And the name of himself, One Punch Man, he just annihilates things left, right, and center with one punch. There are some later in the story that take more than one punch, but one punch is enough just to put him down enough. Even the most overpowered characters that the hero group don't work at covering that kind of level of threat. And he is the type that, no one notices he's doing the whole ordeal. And it works really, really great on that. He doesn't mind much, but then there's this guy that named King, and part of the Serial Guild, that accidentally shows up every time Saitama beats a creature. And so everyone thinks King's like the top ranked hero. It's really Saitama. And the funny thing is, Saitama starts out pretty low on the totem pole. Over time, he gets a little higher recognition, but it takes a while for him to recognition. But anyways, the whole joke of it is that, he's questioned himself, calling himself Kate Baldy. It would be funny if he got named Kate Baldy for our hero name. Well, little bit known, he was named Kate Baldy. So anyways, I really like this one. There are some little bit of iffiness into this, but I give this 4 out of 5. So those are my 3 choices of overpoweredness. And this is Mr. Pat. Have signing off, and have a great day.
Morning pages, thinking tea, dog-eared panels next to me, late night quests and chapter breaks, familiar hearts, familiar